Hey guys, welcome to Sight Lap for round 5 at Southwick. I'm your host, Brent Bowser.
And I'm Jeff Beaver. Just want to say hi to you guys again. It was a nice little break we had. Bruce and Ping are still on their summer vacation. I think Bruce is out on his speedboat out in Havasu. Ping's actually back at work at the fire hall. So uh, you guys are stuck with us for a little while, but they'll be back pretty soon. Have a couple guests lined up for next week. It's gonna be a good time. So appreciate you guys hanging out.
For sure. Yeah, Bruce and the boat. You're not going to drag him off that this summer. Probably not. So, yeah, living the dream out there. Before we
Yeah.
get started, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Rock and Turf, if you're in the market for artificial grass, things like that, Rock and Turf has you covered. UR Water. I think Jeff's going to need a lot of UR Water this weekend. It's going to be pretty muggy there at Southwick. Maxxis tires, truck, mountain bike, dirt bike tires, anything Maxxis has you covered. Speed strap, tie down and toe straps, factory connection, best suspension in the game. We'll see Dylan Ferrandis at Southwick on factory connection. And Baja Designs are a big part of our dual sport bike builds here at Whiskey Throttle Media. So, yeah, man, we're going to Southwick. We've had a week off, and I'm sure these guys have been either took the weekend off or were trying to look forward to this weekend. But Southwick looks like it's gonna be a mild weekend, weather in the 70s, upper 70s, but it looks like we have a chance of rain on Saturday, which I don't think would be too bad for Southwick. But also, if I don't know if you've seen some of the videos I saw on Instagram where they've had some big downpours and they're doing a lot of track work. So we'll see how it ends up. But yeah, you might need your poncho out there, Jeff.
I'm gonna need some freaking monkey butt powder, dude. It's gonna be sweaty out there. It's gonna be nasty. Yeah, so yeah, no wearing boxers on that one, dude. You'll be having rug burn in places you don't want it.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get started, I wanna just give a shout out to Matt Byton. I'm sure by now everybody knows what happened to Matt. He completely severed his spinal cord. I do believe it was T7. Just absolutely brutal. Big shout out to the track crew at Thunder Valley for getting him squared away and to the hospital in a timely manner. They, from what I've heard from Matt's own reports and other people I've talked to, they really did a good job. So unfortunately, in moto that happens and people get hurt, but they did a real good job of it. And I just want to let people know that Road to Recovery has their thing up for Matt right now. So you can go to roadtorecovery.com and help him out. Road to Recovery does so much more than just create a fund to give him money. They're going to help him on the back end with bills and getting back from Denver down to Texas and stuff like that. And we're going to actually do a show here coming up pretty soon with Mike Young from Road to Recovery, kind of explaining how Road to Recovery works, because everybody kind of knows they help, but they don't know really how they help.
Yeah.
And so we want to kind of educate everybody out there in the moto world, really what the benefits of Road to Recovery are and how they actually help and what your money goes to. So
Yeah.
yeah, big shout out to Matt, and yeah, go check out the Road to Recovery Fund if you can.
Yeah, for sure. That's unfortunate. Motorcycles, everything's a risk, and it's unfortunate that happens, but it's cool that we have a place like Road to Recovery that we can go on there. So if you have $1, $20, doesn't matter, donate, help them out. And it'll be cool for you guys to get them on the Whiskey Throttle show to kind of show what they're about, right? We saw what they did with all these a bunch of riders that have gotten hurt, and I think it'd be cool to see where your money's actually going. But they do offer a lot of support for our sport, so that's cool.
Big time, big
Yeah,
time. It's great that we have them.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, Southwick, I know you've been there once and you said you didn't want to be tainted by the weather because you had it pretty good, but I don't know. We'll find out what it's gonna be like this weekend, but uh it's gonna be interesting to see. Everybody's had a week off, either they trained or rested, whatever it is. And we'll start with the 250 class. We saw the Star Racing boys. I know Deegan was out there, Bennick, and we might have a new guy in the class, Max Anstey. But they're actually out there training prior to the national at Southwick. We know that Deegan hasn't always had the best results there. He's admitted where the sand maybe not a specialty, but he's definitely put in the work before they get there. Him and some of his teammates.
Yeah, you don't have to be the head cashier at Walmart to figure out that that kid's going to go identify what his biggest weakness is and go work on it. And there was a lot of talk about Anstey being out there 6 seconds a lap faster. I remember Rhino talking about on his show that he went out and did a race and he was like 7 or 8 seconds a lap slower than some of these guys over in the GPs. And by the time the race came around, he
Yeah.
was running and gunning with them. Those guys will figure it out, especially a guy like Hayden. He's not going to settle for 6 seconds a lap slower. It's just not going to be his cards. Will he win it? Don't know.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you he'd be up there in that top, or he's going to wad himself trying.
Yeah, and it's like people, they said he struggled with this place. He hasn't had a lot of sand experience, but I mean, last year, if you look at his results, he went 410, which isn't horrible, but it's not his standard that we've seen this year with the rides he's had. He does have a 32-point lead over Chance Hymas, which, again, Chance, he's from Idaho, so I don't know if he's the sand expert to say, but I'm not too worried about Deegan. I'm not saying he has to go out there and get 1-1. I bet you he's just there to do the best he can and keep the points going. So I don't expect him to light the world on fire, but I think the more experience he gets with this stuff, that he's going to be, obviously adapt to the conditions.
Yeah, whether you love or hate the kid, you can't deny that his race smarts are off the charts. He's going to figure shit out real quick.
Yeah, then you have, you start thinking about Southwick. Tom Vial won his first outdoor last year there, and he's had a rough past few rounds. He's 38 points back. But I feel like this track, even though it's not as deep sand as like what they see in Europe at Lomo and stuff like that, it's still our only sand track on the circuit. And I feel like that's the type of conditions that really vibe with that European and GP style. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Vial up front again and maybe claw his way back into this points race with Hayden.
Yeah, I wouldn't count him out for anything. He's got to shit or get off the pot, or the championships. If Deegan gets to 40 points, then it's going to be 50 points before you know it. And halfway through the series, he's going to have a 2-moto lead,
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for those guys. He already has a moto lead, right? So he has some wiggle room to where if he's not comfortable, like again this weekend, if he gets 4-4, 3-4, it doesn't even matter. Like he's still got plenty of points to deal with. Where again, Vial is 38 points back. Even if he goes 1-1 or up front, it's not going to be that big of a points differential unless Hayden has some sort of bike issue or he yard sells himself. And then the other guy I'm curious about up there is Chance Hymas. He's second in the points, 32 points back. He didn't race this race last year. He got hurt prior to this race, so we don't really know what Chance can do in the sand, but it's been an impressive summer so far for Chance.
Yeah, you can't count him out. And Shimoda, he is starting to catch fire. Everybody kind of is expecting that, and I think he will kind of wick it up a little bit as we get going. I think by the time we get to Unadilla, he's gonna be firing on all 8, and he's gonna start being a real pain in the ass for everybody. But if Hayden keeps doing what he's doing, he doesn't have to win. If he goes 1-1 a couple more motos, I mean, I'm not going to get into my math again, but if he won like 3 more races, then he finishes on the podium. The rest of the time, he's got it.
Yeah, and you wonder if the guys at Star and then even his dad Brian are telling him, "Hey, look at the points that you already have, and don't push it at Southwick. Don't do anything stupid, right? It's just like survive through there, and then we're on to Redbud and Bud's Creek and those tracks that he's good at." So I don't think there's a whole lot of worry under the Deegan camp, and he's shown this year that he's pretty much the guy to beat. We saw at High Point what he did there, so it's been impressive. And unless these guys can really take a chunk out of the points this weekend, I think it's going to be a long summer. And I don't think anybody really can challenge Hayden unless they start to really step up and show their face or show how good they are, because he's been pretty much dominating these guys since the start.
Yeah. I don't know really who's going to challenge him. I wish Seth was back. Kind of messaged him today. I was like, dude, wish you were out there riding, because I think he'd be doing some things that would surprise a few people. Levi, I don't know what's going on. If I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't expect much at this point. I think Masterpool is the only other person out there right now that the $64,000 question is he gonna carry on his High Point momentum?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think he probably will be on fire.
Yeah, I could see Ty. He's gotten the confidence. He's been on the bike longer. Um, he got that win at High Point, obviously 2-1, and he went, and actually in the 450 class the last year at Southwick, he went 5:10. I think he had an issue that second moto, so he was up front in the 450 class. So I could see him being pretty strong at Southwick. Um, Talking about Joe Shimoda, he went 6-1 at Southwick last year, so he definitely has a speed there. He's 55 points back, so I feel like Joe at this point is just looking for good results to kind of show HRC and everybody that, why they hired him. Not a bad thing, but again, I think he's out of this title hunt. But he did do good there last year, and yeah, with Levi, I'm just not really sure what basically the last three motos he's had. He got passed by Ty at the second moto at High Point. I think he finished sixth, and then or at Thunder Valley, then High Point. He was just off. He was back in 8th range, and I know he had some crashes and stuff like that, but he went from being in this title fight to being 47 points back. So yeah, he's
Well,
almost
he was in the title fight for the first moto,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was about it. But I remember Ping saying when he lost the championship to Shea in 2000 that he was a complete basket case that summer,
hmm
and I'm sure there's some of that mental in there, like Adam Cianciarulo did the complete
yeah,
opposite. He took that and came out firing,
yeah,
and he dominated those first six motos in 2019,
yeah,
and then Dylan caught fire and kind of came along, but Adam had such a huge gap. He maintained it and
yeah,
he won the title,
yeah.
So it's either kind of one or the other kind of scenario. To me, I think it was just probably didn't have a lot of time in there. And, watching some of the interviews he's done that it devastated him, So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Could you? I mean,
yeah,
you think about it, right? You're that close to winning a title, that close to that big bonus check, that close to just reaching your goals that you've wanted for your whole life, and you can either come out ready and hungry like AC did in 2019, or you can be deflated, like you said with Ping. So
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be I thought he was gonna be like AC, especially after watching him at Paula. I thought it was gonna be like an AC thing, but yeah, he hasn't had his best stuff the last couple of races. And so with how the points are set up, it's like it's really a three-man battle between Deegan, Hymas, and Vial, but they're all over a moto behind. So unless something, catastrophic happens to Hayden, I think it's his championship to lose.
Yeah. I mean, the 250 class is kind of stretching out and turning into the Jet Lawrence show, kind of the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And speaking of Master Pool, I think it was cool to see him get his first win. I saw all the Instagram videos, reels, everybody giving him congrats. That was a cool story. It's awesome for Ty and Team Pro Circuit Kawasaki getting a 300th win. And again, he did good at Southwick last year. I think Ty will be probably in my opinion, a podium to top 5 contender all season. He's had more time on the bike. He's probably really confident now that he won. Yeah, stoked for Ty and to see what he does the rest of the summer.
If you remove Deegan from the equation, look how close everybody else is.
Oh
You've
yeah,
got a hell of a championship battle. It's just there's that one guy who's just stepped
yep.
up and elevated his game. And like I said,
Mhm.
whether you hate him or love him, you can't
I
deny
know.
the dude can ride a goddamn motorcycle.
Yeah, definitely. And then, outside those main guys we saw this week, Cody Schock broke his wrist. Bummer for Cody.
His wrist, he
His
broke his
wrist,
little wrist,
his
his little
wrist.
wrist.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I feel.
sucked.
Did you see the video or the picture on Instagram? It was pretty crooked. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be out for a little bit. But bummer for Cody. He was building in the right direction this summer. He came off that Supercross season that was really good with club. But good news for Cody. He'll be back and he's with club. So again, just another setback, but it's a bummer for him. He was having a
Jet and Phineas are going.
yeah. They're like, yes, we go up one more position. Yeah.
No, I don't know about that. I think they're worried about are we next? Shit.
Yeah.
Especially Jet, dude, and bubble wrap his ass. But
Yeah. Yeah. He was probably thinking,
I'm wondering how Phineas will do out there. I want to see Jet Reynolds kind of wick it up a little bit and get in that
yeah.
uh 11 to 15 zone. I'd be super stoked to see that.
Yeah.
And I think Phineas, well, the way he's riding, I think he's got top 10 all day if he just stays in it and keeps it rubber side down. I think he's in the maybe 8 to 12 range this
Yeah,
weekend.
definitely. And I mean, if you look at it, the motos, he hasn't had issues with bike or wreck or whatever. He's been in that 10 or that 11 to 14 range, right? And yeah, again, we saw a high point, the speed he has. He ran out front for a long time, and then he had that tip over, and then obviously the issue with the radiator. So it's been cool to see. Thinking about the rookies, you have Finnis, who's been really fast, showing the speed up front, but also Casey Cochran. The results don't show how good he's riding, but he's probably had the most passing points of the summer. Like the kid has been fast. He qualified fastest at Hangtown. Um, yeah, he. I mean, I feel like the results haven't showed how good he's riding, but yeah, these rookies have been pretty solid this summer. You know,
I
bearing
just
this.
want to see him get on the podium
Yeah,
just because that dude, if when Casey gets on the podium, that shit is going to be hilarious. The stuff that's going to come out of his mouth is
yeah,
going to straighten out Nate's beard. He's going to be like, oh, God, but it's going to be hilarious. The kid, if you haven't paid attention to him much, the kid's funny as hell.
yeah. No, he is really cool. And I did that amateur spotlight interview with him a couple times, and good kid, good family. Stoked for him. Again, he's showing some speed. The results haven't really been on paper, haven't looked like it, but if you just looked at all the other variables he's shown so far, I think it's been pretty solid. Um, I want to really talk about the Bet Online AG guys. They had some online bets. I forgot to mention it last week. My bad. 250 class this week. What's actually pretty cool about it is there's lots of different bets on there. You can do head versus head, or you can do championship, or you can do who's going to win the weekend. And after looking at it, what's cool about the head to head, you can either pick Tom Vial versus Chance Hymas or Joe Shimoda versus Levi Kitchen. On the
I put my money on the Shimoda one right there, but the Vial and who was Vial up against? Uh,
Hymas,
Hymus.
yeah.
That'd be a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I don't know because so obviously Tom's the favorite. He's minus 155, and Chance is the underdog at plus 155 or plus
But look who's
150.
got more momentum.
Yeah, but I look at okay, Vial won last year there, and this is more of that European style. I'm with you though. I don't know because Vial's kind of had some up and downs this season, and Chance has been very solid. And then the Joe versus Kitchen, Joe's Joe's barely the favorite. He's minus 125, and Kitchen's minus 115. So that's pretty even across the board. I don't know though. Like either one of those guys, Joe obviously won a moto there last year, but he got sixth the first moto. Then Kitchen last year, there he was 5'9". So it's a toss up on those guys for that. I'm
I mean,
not.
again, I go off of what their trajectory is this season.
Yeah,
Joe's going this way and Levi's going that way.
yeah, for sure. And then the other ones that you have, so you can have the odds to win the championship. Deegan is minus 210. Obviously, he's got a 32-point lead. So if you bet $210, you win $100, right? So I mean, I feel like Hayden's a safe bet on that, but things can happen. You never know. And then they have the odds to win Southwick. Deegan's minus 125, Vial's plus 140, and then it starts really jumping up. Hymus is plus 325, Kitchen plus 500. So, I mean, if you're a bet man, I wouldn't take the Deegan one just because we know his struggles at Southwick the last year, and he admits he's not a sand specialist. He'll probably have a good weekend, but I mean the Vial at plus 140 looks pretty good because he won the moto last year and won the overall. So um, yeah, interesting bets we had this weekend. I mean, you can get really crazy and go. I mean, look at this one: Ryder D to win Southwick plus 4,000. So they're giving you plenty of chances to make some money, but again, be smart with your money and don't bet anything that you don't have. So if you want to check it out, go to Bet Online AG. We have a link. We'll post a link on our on the site lab feature. So if you
Yeah,
want
if
to
you
go,
go to our Instagram and click the link and go and sign up, then it makes it real easy there. That's how I did it.
yeah. And before we get in the 450 class, I want to talk about Southwick a little bit. We saw again all the weather and stuff like that, but we've heard over the years that the riders say that Southwick isn't like it used to be, where it's used to be really sandy. Now you have a base on it, and it only digs down so far. So I'm curious with the water and all the rain that we had. I saw some of the videos on Instagram, and it was flooding pretty bad. Do you think that's going to wash some of that sand out? It's going to be more hard packed, or do you think they'll get it ready and it'll be your typical Southwick?
Well, all out behind there, in the front, you got that high school or whatever, middle school, whatever the hell that is, and it's down
Yeah.
in the bowl in the back. But there's plenty of area out there that they could go rip some topsoil or rip the grass off and get some sand if they needed to. But the same things happened to Washougal over the years. It used to be
Mhm.
deep and loamy, but it's all blown off the track and it's just got that ice skating ring under it, and all these tracks are so old that you're kind of getting that. And at some point, it makes you wonder if they go in and deck the parking lot out there and take all that sand and bring it in and
Yeah.
pack it in and put it back to the way it was.
Yeah, I know it's weird to think that, once I wouldn't call it like bottomless sand, but now that you have a base, it's probably got to be pretty tricky to ride where you have all that loose sand on top, and then you get to a certain point where you're hitting that hard base. So it's going to be tricky, and also with humidity and potentially rain, it's not that hot, but that track is gets really rough. So I think fitness is going to be a big thing, especially for these guys late in the day, second motos where the track's the roughest. I think fitness is going to play an important role, even though it is only going to be only 75.
Yeah, 75 and 100% humidity sucks. We were supposed to go up to the X Games this weekend, but just some stuff went down. So I decided, well, I'm not going to sit home. I'm going to Southwick. So that was the only thing. I'm like, do I really want to go out there and have my nuts stick to my thigh? But whatever, dude. All for
Just
the all for
yeah,
the views, and it's
yeah,
going to be fun to film. Filming sand is so fun.
yeah,
Just pick a corner and hit slow mo, and you're good, dude.
yeah. And also the last thing before we get to 450s, I saw, and we'll see if it happens, but um, Tony LaRusso, he's 52 years old, and I
I
heard
just saw
he's
that today.
yeah, he's gonna try to rate. He's racing this weekend and try to qualify. We saw Jimmy Dakotas do that last year. Obviously he's in the BU. They put him in the B practice because he's not racing all year, so they get the smoothest track. And we've seen it in the past. These locals that know how to ride Southwick, know how to develop, so they can go fast there. We've seen them put really good practice times up and even really good results. So, like last year, this Chris Canning got seventh overall. Like, who's Chris Canning? But obviously, he's really fast and no Southwick. So it'll be fun to see Tony out there, 52 years old. If he can put it in the show, and if he does, that's awesome.
Yeah, like in 95 or 96, he got third in one moto. So the guy can ride Southwick. And I think the last time he raced there was 12 years ago. He was 40 years old, is what it said. So
Oh yeah,
this dude's got some brass balls, dude.
dude.
Those guys out at the Wick are built different. That NEC crew, man. I remember the first time, that one time I went out.
Oh yeah,
The
NEC's
fans
awesome.
are, dude, yeah, they're just all about it, man. That is hardcore motocross fans out there. So it's gonna be fun, and they're gonna be yelling the loudest for that dude.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's gonna be cool to watch. And I think that's what's cool about our sport is, yeah, obviously you got to have a license race stuff like that. But these guys that, again, we heard Mike Brown might have was going to come and try one, but you get these guys that come out like Jimmy last year hadn't raced in a few years, and this guy obviously 50 years old. It's just cool that they still have that opportunity to go out. It's not like football, baseball, where those guys there's no chance of them doing
Yeah,
that. So
Brownie would qualify for both motos, man. I watched
oh
him
yeah, for
when I
sure.
watched him in Farley Castle in England last year when we
Mhm.
all went over there. That dude is a savage. He rolled out an '89 CR 125. I go, hey, why don't you race that in this one and make it fair for everybody?
Yeah.
Jesus, Mike.
I
You
feel
know,
like he's gotten fat. I mean, he's almost gotten faster the older he gets, right? He goes to Loretta's every year. He
just
wins. It's insane. He's an animal. So
yeah, he still hauls ass.
yeah,
So it's cool to see him. Be fun to see Dowd shake it off and get out there too.
dude, I remember watching that when Dowd and Henry would come out, and they would just like, I don't remember what age John Dowd was, but he looked like a dinosaur out there against those other guys. But dude, he was still up front. I think he got a podium. He was 40 something years old. I'm like, dude, this guy's wild. So
Oh, half that field after the race was shoulder tapping him, going, "Hey, John, can we go down to 7-Eleven? Any buy me some beer, dude?"
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And then they're probably all like, "Hey, can we come up here and practice with you? Because clearly you know what you're doing up here." So that's what makes I think it makes Southwick fun. It's a unique
Well,
track.
did you see Dakotas riding a? Looked like he was riding a Star bike the other day.
No, I didn't see that.
There was a video of him riding a Yamaha, and I'm like,
Oh,
what is
hmm.
Jimmy up to? Wouldn't that be sick if he just
Yeah,
showed up and got on the line?
that would be cool. And he did good last year. He qualified good, and that
Yeah, put him on a full Star bike and let him rip, dude. That could be sick, dude. But yeah,
Yeah.
I tagged Billy Laninovich in that guy's story, the 52-year-old. This guy's trying to steal your thunder, Billy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
is for real. Yeah.
Mhm.
And speaking of Star, we mentioned Max Anstey signing with them, and he ended his contract with Firepower Honda early. If he does race this weekend, which it sounds like he's going to, what do you expect from Max? He hasn't raced outdoors in a while, specifically on a 250, but clearly he's seasoned veteran. He's been around the world. He's raced United States, Europe, sand, Lomo. Where do you think Max could be potentially this weekend?
At Southwick on the line. I
Yeah.
have no
You don't know,
idea.
right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
have no idea where he'll end up. I mean, he could blow your mind and end up on the podium, or he could absolutely suck. It all just depends on how he gets that bike set up.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting that we all heard that he was going to start next year. Um, I think he had some plans to race some World Supercross, and who knows what, we heard they're going to have a 4 round series, whatever. So it was interesting to see him get out of that contract early and go to Star, and then for him to already be racing. I didn't expect to see him until maybe later in the year if they were going to do all that. But yeah, he's at Southwick. He was training with Deegan and Bennick, and yeah, we'll see what he does this weekend. Obviously, he's very fast and he's on one of the best bikes in the class. So we'll see what he can do with it.
I read somewhere that he was saying he really wanted to get out and ride some motocross in case he got called up for donations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense, and it probably tells you that anybody associated with Phoenix Honda is probably not doing World Supercross because there's been
Yeah.
talks of teams pulling out stuff and got paid. So that thing's a shit show.
Yeah, for sure it is.
They announced a schedule, but yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, dude.
Yeah, 4 rounds and 1 round has 2 races. I mean, I don't really call that a series. I'm all about these guys making money racing dirt bikes so that, obviously that series gives more jobs, more opportunities for these guys to make money. But it's been kind of a shit show since it started, and it really hasn't
Those
stuck.
guys
So
had any brains, they would just do a race and make Dubai a double header and make it like Paris.
yeah, Paris, yeah, US Open, whatever
Make
it
it
is.
just
Yeah.
it doesn't have and get it to where it's so undeniably badass that you can
Yeah,
start adding other rounds instead of trying to
exactly.
make a bunch of rounds. Then it just one, I don't think the people really give a shit over there about Supercross like they do here. I mean, the racers do, but
Yeah.
you just I don't see the fans in a lot
No.
of those other countries going out and getting involved in it. Maybe if they went to India with that India Racing League,
Yeah.
uh, dude, I'd love to go over there
I'll
for that. Have you
do.
watched any of that?
Yeah, we need to
That
go.
shit's so
We need to go there and have a
yeah,
film
I've
session,
spent a month of my life in India. I've been to India twice, dude. I can navigate India.
dude.
I would go in a heartbeat. That place
Dude.
would be off the hook. Those dudes are hilarious,
I
dude.
feel like we got to tell Ping we got to go. That would make for some.
Yeah, who's paying for that shit? Because I ain't riding coach all the way halfway. That's a long flight over to India, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we can find some way to do
It's
it.
17 hours from Newark, dude. Ask me how I know. I rode it in coach one time. Wanted to just kill myself.
Yeah, no chance. No, for sure. Jumping in the 450 class, Southwick. Uh, yeah, we got Hunter Lawrence is red plate holder. He's has the points lead over Sexton by 6 and Jet by 8. But as we saw at High Point, Jet was still wounded, but he still got the overall. Sexton had that crash. Just think about it. 2 rounds ago, Jet was 24 points back, and now he's 8. Good for Hunter though. Hunter still has red plate. He's ridden solid all summer, so I expect him to do very well at Southwick, um, to be in the mix with those guys that in the top 3, 4. But Jet, he's had a week off. I can only imagine he's going to come out firing, and he's already won when he was wounded. So I'm just curious what you expect of Jet this weekend.
I would. You can't bet against him going and winning it again. He's been pretty quiet on social media this year.
Hmm.
Ever since he pissed everybody off and had everybody booing him, it's a different Jet, right? He's not always
Yeah.
on there, but he posted something yesterday and went and got. I want to talk to these kids about their goddamn haircuts. They all look like morons. It's like, dude, what are you doing, dude? You look
Dude,
like you were working on your weed eater and it whooped your ass. You look stupid. Stop
hey,
it.
that is just they were old, dude. That's just
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude, but when you look like you got like a poodle in the front and skinhead on the side, I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
dude.
You look like an idiot.
That's and if it's not that, it's it's the shave your head and bleach it. So what do you
I'm
want?
down with the shave your head and bleaching, dude. We did that shit in the '90s, dude. You know, whatever, bro. You know, but
Frosted tips like McGrath, like every.
ping, dude. You know, I got some photos of Dave. We need to pop
Dude.
some of those
I
up,
saw
man.
one on Instagram actually earlier, and it was like from I don't know, 98, and his whole head was just bleached.
Well, I got the pipeline to Amber, so I can get some doozies, dude, that we should
Yeah.
start throwing up here. And if we
Yeah.
can't pick on the boss, then why should we work for him, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's not here, so we can talk all we want.
Yeah. What's he gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. But
Yeah.
yeah, picking on Dave is half the reason I signed up. So just for anybody wondering out there. But my real thought is I put an Instagram reel the other day, just kind of see what people thought of how Hunter would do. And 2/3 of the, I asked, hey, do you think Hunter will finally get the overall at Southwick? And 2/3 of the people said no. I just think, the majority of the paddock kind of thinks, yeah, think Jetson's going to do it. Me personally, I think I don't know why, but I think Southwick is going to be the round that Hunter does it.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, he was good there on a 250.
and he was really good in Europe.
Yeah,
They trained a lot in Europe in the sand,
yeah,
and
for sure.
I don't know why. I just got this my beaver nuggets are tingling, and I just think that Hunter's going to do it. And then I've got AP on there, and I put up another poll with AP, and like 88% of the people said he'd make the podium again.
Yeah,
I was there in 22 and he made the podium, and that was freaking awesome, dude.
yeah,
The guy, I don't even remember who got first and second because everybody
yeah,
was so focused on
yeah.
AP, dude, and having a good time. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, you have the cowbells, the air horns, whatever on the whole track. Yeah, AP last year went 4-4 there.
Mhm.
It's interesting you mentioned Hunter. I'm curious to see if it's going to come to fruition, like my Chase Sexton win at Hangtown, even though that obviously Jet had his issues, but Jet went 1-1 there last year. I think it's going to be a Jet Hunter Sexton battle up front, and if Jet is healed and more rested than from his injury, I could see him just getting out front, maintaining that 3 to 4 second gap, and those guys trying to go after him. But in my opinion, I think Jet's still the man to beat. He's gotten these wins with being injured, and after that slam he took at Hangtown, you can only imagine how he was feeling, and still doing as well as he was. Where these other guys are 100% in. They had stuff for him, but he was wounded. So I can, going into Southwick, he's had an extra week. I just think he's going to be lethal. And he's silky smooth. And I feel like on a track like that, he's going to excel. But we'll definitely see this
I just
weekend.
wonder how that shoulder's going to do in the sand.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
That one just
Hmm.
that I think that's going to be his Achilles heel,
Yep.
so to speak. But I think you're going to see. I don't know. This is what I'm thinking. I think you're going to have 100 Jet and AP podium.
Okay. Okay. So
You're buying me if I nail that, you're buying me a steak dinner next time I come up to Bakersfield.
all right. Sizzler, is that okay?
You cheap son of a bitch.
Hey, that's what I do. So no
I want
sex.
the all you can eat shrimp if we're going to Sizzler, dude.
Or we can go, if you want that, all you can eat seafood. We can go to Red Lobster. They're about to shut down anyway, right? So, uh,
Not like food poisoning on a Tuesday night.
so you left Sexton off your podium, huh? What you just think? What are you thinking there?
I think you could interchange him and AP, but I
Yeah,
just think AP, he did pretty darn good at High Point, and
yep,
I just don't know where Sexton's head's at. He's
yeah,
either going to come in there and just be a complete pain in the ass to everybody in the top three, or he's going to hit the deck and be
yeah.
spitting sand out. Yeah, I don't know. I'd
Um,
love to see a win. I'm a huge fan of the kid. I like him.
yeah.
I think he's a good dude, and I think he works harder than an ugly stripper. But I just I don't know, dude. It's
Yeah,
like I'm just saying my podium picks. I think in
right.
reality that's what you're gonna have. I'd love to see him win the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think anybody works harder. I mean, I think Jet works just as hard, but
yeah,
I just don't think anybody outworks that guy or out wants it
yeah,
more than Chase. I think if you looked at the paddock of who wants it the most
Yeah.
in moto, I think it's chasing the 450s and digging in the 250s. Now,
Yeah.
whether they both get it, I don't know, but I don't think there's anybody with more desire than those two guys on a dirt bike right now.
Agreed. And you get to see it on Chase's face when he gets off at some of the videos you've taken him when he gets behind the podium and he just has
I
that
hope he
blank.
doesn't punch me in the face for that shit, but I mean, hey, that's
I mean,
we're
it's a cool view. Like that's that vulnerable moment that people don't get to see
hey,
behind the
I
scenes.
edit out a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
dude. There's things that I
Oh
can put
yeah.
out there
I bet. Yeah.
that would piss a lot of people off, but I'm not trying to
Hmm.
be a douchebag, right? You know,
Yeah.
so you go back and watch it. I goofed up one time and put one up. I just didn't catch it after Seattle. There was an F bomb in there. I didn't
Oh.
hear it. I was half asleep driving when I put it up and
Yeah.
got a phone call like, oh shit. So I
Yeah.
took it
Take it
down
down.
and
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, we
Yeah.
don't do that kind of shit. We're just trying to have fun and show
Yeah.
cool stuff. But yeah, the candid moments are the
Hmm.
things. And yeah, you see them like, especially after High Point after that first moto, I was the only one up there with him. He was sitting by himself. The team, I don't know where the team was, but they were down there. He just kind of ripped up there, and I was the only media guy on that side of the track. So I ran up there, and he's just sitting there, like I kind of make a fish faces, just
Yeah.
1,000 yard stare, and I'm like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that don't piss that guy off right now," you know.
No. Yeah, you could tell when he gets off and it's not the moto he wants. He just has that stare on it. He has that look where he's just like fuming inside and wondering like what happens. And you know he wants it. You can tell he wants it for sure. And so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out swinging this weekend. I think it's going to be usually Southwick is really interesting because it's kind of a level playing field because there's again it's just a sand track. There's not jumps and it's just rough and fitness is a big deal. So I was looking at last year's results and so Jet went 1-1, Sexton went 2-2. Then you had Ferrandis went 3-3, AP went 4-4. Hunter wasn't in the class, obviously, and J Coop was in the 250 class. J Coop went 2-2. So I can see these six guys between Jet, Sexton, AP, Ferrandis, J Coop, Hunter. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty good race. I think J Coop's going to be good. Not saying he's going to beat Jet, but same with Ferrandis. We'll see how he's in that Honda or gelling, but these are the type of tracks you could see good rides from like Dylan and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a really fun weekend to watch, and there's going to be a lot of guys up front, closer to the front than what we've seen so far.
I think Justin Cooper would probably be the biggest spoiler for a podium spot.
Yep,
No, I think you could kind of interchange, like I said, interchange Sexton
AP.
and AP, but I think AP kind of wins on that one. Just, but that's the feeling I got. But I could also see Cooper going, "Hold on,
Yeah, yeah,
watch this,"
yeah, yeah. And I listened to interview. High Point isn't his best track. That's what ended his season last year on a 250, or not ended, but he hurt him. He had that wreck in the roller. So he said he was pretty much trying to make it through High Point, which he still did decent. So where he's getting to a track that he's good at, he's done had good results at. Now he's on a 450. He's light. Again, it's going to be fun to watch. I think those six guys are going to be the class of the field. Anderson got a 614. I don't think Southwick's really Anderson's cup of tea from being from New Mexico, but I'm sure he'll be up there trying to give these guys a fight. But I really
I
think it's
think Anderson might surprise a lot of people because New Mexico, our filmer Nate grew up in the same town as Jason and would always go out and film with him, and they'd ride and then just this bombed out sand whoop wash track. It just a bombed out track on
oh
and
really? Yeah,
real sandy and loose and stuff like that. So he
yeah,
may surprise some people out there.
yeah. Yeah, and I think and then you have Malcolm Stewart. He hasn't been to Southwick in probably 10 years. He's probably gonna after that first moto, he's probably gonna wish he's back on the boat. I'm sure, right? It's gonna be hot, humid, and rough. But he's a Florida kid, Florida guy. He knows how to ride the sand. So I'm looking forward to Southwick. I think it's a unique stop of the series, and you get guys like again, we could have Ferrandis in the mix, Jay Coop, and obviously we have Jet, Sexton, Hunter. So I think it's gonna be fun to watch. Um, Anybody else in the 450 class that you think can get up there and run with these boys, or you think that's kind of the
I mean,
the class
Malcolm's
of the
got the
field?
potential to be a spoiler, but no,
Yeah,
I think that's about it.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's kind of those guys. Because once you get after the top 10, it kind of falls off with some of the B teams and privateers. So I could see those 7, 8
I think
guys.
Phil will do in the sand out there, being a New England guy.
Yeah, it depends on his knee. I watched that Club MX uh, series that they have on YouTube, and after High Point, he wasn't very happy, but also his knee didn't feel the greatest with all the rut. So we'll see how the sand does with his knee. We know he gets good starts. I mean, we saw him rip that whole shot second moto at High Point. He's always up front off the starts. He puts himself in good positions. Um, but we'll see how Phil
Maybe I'll
does.
go get him a bottle of Geritol down at the Rite Aid on Friday, and I'll throw it at him Saturday and run for my life. I could actually probably outrun him with this knee right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. But no, it'd be cool to see Phil get another start, be up front. Hopefully, he can get recovered from that knee.
And
He's
we're getting Marchbanks back.
Oh yeah, Marchbank's back this weekend, huh?
I didn't even think about that. That
Me
guy
neither.
could be a spoiler, dude. That guy can ride the shit out of a 450.
Yeah, so last year at Southwick, Marchbanks went 10-5. That first moto he had an issue, and then second moto he got fifth. He went 10-5 for fifth overall.
I totally even forgot about that to include
Same.
Manchild in there.
Yeah, and we'll see how he was off from the injury from press day at Paula. He had that big old rip in his thumb, so I'm sure he was able to keep in shape. But coming back at Southwick, which is pretty physically demanding, that's probably gonna
Yeah,
be.
but look where he's training.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, Club's
Mhm.
probably a gnarlier sand track than Southwick at this point in time.
Yeah.
I think they've got I talked to Jet the other day, and I think they were just pounding out sand motos. I think they have 2 sand tracks out there, if I'm not mistaken. But I wouldn't count any of the club boys out. I mean, that is their bread and butter, is riding sand.
Yeah. No, that's
And
cool.
what's up with Jeremy Martin? Is he MIA? Is he hanging out with Diddy down in the island somewhere? Where the frick is he at?
I think he's on Epstein Island. No. Uh
No,
yeah,
I
well,
don't. No, let's not go there, bro.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't have nobody like that there. But
No, so the last update I really heard he ran like a half marathon or something or
well, no,
some
that was Alex, wasn't it?
no, but Jeremy did too. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then but I think he's still just recovering. I don't know if because with the hitting his
What
head
kind
or
of
what.
retired motocrosser goes out and runs marathons with their knees? That just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
I saw that and I'm just like, what do you like? No.
I'm pretty sure I could outrun Ping, in a 100-yard dash with his knees. His knees look like, Nancy Kerrigan knees. Like Tanya Harding went up and just bludgeoned him, dude.
Yeah.
They're old motocrosser knees are. Ugh.
Dude, yeah. I don't know. And I'm like, you've trained your whole life racing and then you decide you're gonna retire. Yeah, he has a training program, trail training, but then you're like, I'm gonna do half marathons. I don't know if that'd be my choice of fun in retirement, that's for sure.
A lot of better shit to do than that, but they'll probably live a lot longer than my fat ass.
Yeah, for
I don't know.
sure.
That just kind of popped in my head right now. I was like, where's that dude out? Because that dude was a
Yeah.
ripper outdoors, man. And I'd love to see him get out there and hopefully get some motos in before the end of the summer.
Yeah, we'll see. From what I've heard, I don't think we'll see him the rest of this year, but who knows? It could, he's just taking time off to recover. But at the same time, I think Marchbanks could be a spoiler up in that, 5, 6, 7, 8 range. I think he could slot in there. Like I said, he did really good last year and he's a beast on a 450. So I'm sure he's looking forward to that. And we all, we heard the rumors of him going to PC back to pro circuit next year on a 250, which I don't think anybody thought would ever happen. So that will be interesting. But yeah, Marchbanks on a 450 is pretty lethal, and I think he will have a good result this weekend.
Well, yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how he does because when he was at pro circuit before, I don't think he utilized the opportunity he had.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And I think now you saw what he did in Supercross last year. I think
yep.
even though he weighs 300 freaking pounds and he's built like an ox, he knows what he's doing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
from what I understand, he had a real hard decision to make leaving club because, man, I tell you what, that would be hard to leave Mike and those guys. Those guys really have done right by all those dudes, and
Mhm.
I don't know, it'd be a tough one.
Yeah, and you think about it, right? When Marchbanks left PC and he went to club, I think it was like 4 years ago. Everybody's like, Club MX, like, is that club isn't back then, wasn't what it is now.
Mhm.
And he's kind of helped grow with that program with Brandon and Mike and all those guys. And I'm sure it was a hard decision for him to leave You know, again, going back to a factory train like Pro Circuit, which I never thought would happen again because I know there was sounded like some bad blood there, but good opportunity for him. But I'm sure it wasn't
Yeah,
an
just a
easy.
dumb kid at that point, you know.
Yeah,
He just
exactly.
made dumb kid moves. You know,
Yeah,
he's grown up a lot.
for sure. And I think that's what will be different this time is, you know, he was super young. They brought him up. Now he's not, you know, 4 years older, 5 years older, and he's going back. So I think cool for Marchbanks. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure, but again, you know, club, he's been kind of a family there. So I'm sure they're bummed too. And I'm sure he is bummed as well.
Hey, but that happens though when you're not a factory team
Yeah.
and your guys really start to pick up and go. It's the real fight for guys at club are going to be to retain those riders, because once they
Yep.
start
Hmm.
kicking some butt and really making some waves, and then you got a team like Mitch where it's like they all went running through a minefield with blindfolds on, and there's only one guy left standing. You
I
know,
know. Geez. Yeah.
they're gonna need
Mhm.
to fulfill some contractual obligations to Kawasaki and Monster and all of them, and they're gonna start headhunting people. You know, so that's the hard part for guys. But I don't think it'll be long before clubs on the factory level, and then
Agreed.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be like you're gonna have to go down the road and
Hmm.
talk to somebody else.
Yeah, they've definitely grown their program with the training facility and the houses on site and the food program
I
they
can't
have.
wait to go out and visit that place. We've got
Yeah,
an open invitation. We just got to find the time to go, and that's going to be like going to Disneyland.
it is. And make sure you invite me because I want to go. So
I got to find some place to like duct tape jet to a tree and throw shit at him or something. I don't know. That's on my agenda to get that little shit. But
so looking at the 450 point standing, so Hunter Lawrence is a red point leader. He red plate holder. I know, just it's
spit it
late.
out, dude.
I'm just tired from Mammoth. He's red plate holder. He's got 6 points over Sexton, 8 over Jet. So those are really your three guys. Jay Coop in fourth. He's 28 back, which again I think he'll have some good rides, but you know championship I'm not there. AP's 37 points back. I really think it comes down to between Hunter, Sexton, and Jet. Um, for this weekend, I'm gonna start off for the overalls for 250, 450. 250 class, I think Tom Vial's going to get the overall. I think Hayden will be strong, but he's still working his way into getting used to the sand and Southwick stuff like that. So I think Vial takes that overall. And then in the 450 class, I think Jet's going to take that one. I think he's going to go 1-1. It's going to be a fun race to watch in the 450 class, I think, between all those guys we mentioned before. But I just think Jet's got an extra week to get healthier. And I think he'll do what he always does and manage the race and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, he kid's damn good, dude.
It's scary. It's scary. Who do you have winning? So I know you mentioned on the 250 class, you think you know Deegan might get it done, but who do you have for both classes?
I for 250, I would think it'd be Deegan, Vial, and Masterpool. Maybe Deegan, Masterpool, Vial. I'm not really set on the two. I think Deegan's gonna win it for the overall. Yeah, I think it'd be Deegan, Vial, and Masterpool. Kind of that'd be a pretty safe bet. And then I'm gonna go with like I said, I'm gonna go with Hunter, Jet, and AP.
Got that 100 for the win. So we'll see. That would be cool. Hunter's been fast. We've seen it. I think he's impressed me this summer. I mean, he was decent in Supercross, but how he came in this outdoor season was a lot more than what I saw in
You're
Supercross.
just setting them up. You got last week. You just can't help yourself, can you?
Well, I have a retainer with those guys, so I'm just trying to keep them in
Oh
business.
shit. Uh,
But yeah, I've been impressed with Hunter. Again, comparing to Supercross, he had a good season, but he's been solid outdoors.
yeah,
All
great rookie year
yeah,
for
definitely. Yeah.
450 rookie year. I can't shake a stick at him, but I just want to see somebody beat Jet.
Straight up.
That I
Straight up.
like Jet. I
Yeah.
got no problem with Jet. I think he's an amazing rider, but
Yep.
if they just start winning every moto, it's like,
Yep.
you
And you
know,
think about what's got to go through these guys' heads. So Sexton, he wins Hangtown, Jet's hurt, but and then he passed Jet at High Point, but Jet again was dealing with a shoulder injury. Have we seen anybody pass Jet healthy other than Ken Roxon last year when he had that issue? But Chase Sexton, you know he wants to win, and he's probably chomping at the bit to pass Jet, but he just can never get close enough. Or if he does, he has an issue.
Yeah, I don't even think Tomac did in Supercross, did he?
No, I don't think so either.
I just
It's hard.
freaking Tomac, man. He's still got that brace on his hand. Did you see that post the other day?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think we'll see him probably back at SMX.
yeah,
Hopefully he's got enough points. But
yep.
yeah, God, it's just woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Yeah,
Why
it's
did
it's it's a bummer because it was like right after they said that Tomac was gonna race the outdoors, then he got hurt, and everyone's like, "Damn, that would have been cool." But to be honest, like, yeah, Tomac is a beast outdoors, but man, I mean, he's a beast in Supercross, and
Yeah,
Jet.
but he was more of a beast outdoors.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I still just wonder if
I
if
mean, four national championships outdoors in the 450
yeah,
class. Yeah, you don't have to be the head cashier at Walmart to understand that he probably would have been his biggest rival outdoors. Him and Chase would have been right there with
yeah,
him.
that would have been a fun. That would have been fun to watch for
I
sure.
think we
But
would have had four dudes out there just beating the crap out of each other.
that would have been good. Looking at Bet Online AG for the 450 class, there's a couple interesting head-to-head matches. The first one, which I don't know if I would take, it's Chase Sexton versus Hunter Lawrence, and they're both minus 120, so they're evenly spread. So I don't know if I would. I don't know who I'd pick out of that bet. I don't think I'd
Big
make that
Hunter.
bet. Yeah.
Hunter.
And then the second one, which I think I would do this one, but the odds are a little far apart, is you have Dylan Ferrandis versus Justin Barsha. But Ferrandis is a minus 250 and Barsha is a plus 170. So clearly Ferrandis is the favorite, but you got to bet a lot of money to make some money. So I just don't know if I would probably stay away from that one too.
I'd go with Ferrandis.
Agreed. Agreed. But you got to put up 250 to win $100. So it's like, is it worth it? And then you have the overall for the weekend. Jet Lawrence is minus 300. He's the favorite. So that's, you got to bet 300 to win 100. But if you go with your pick of Hunter Lawrence, he's plus 250. So if Hunter Lawrence wins the overall, $100 gets you 250. So I feel like that's a pretty decent bet. Same with Chase Sexton. He's plus 275. So right there with Hunter. And then if you want to
What's
get,
the,
go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, you're,
What's AP?
I was gonna say, if you want to get really crazy, yeah, you can go AP at plus 1,000. So you bet $100 on AP, or yes, 10, whatever you want to bet. But yeah, $100 you win $1,000. It's like, yeah, the
Should buy
AP.
that boy a new Stetson with the woman.
Yeah, you got yeah, you have Dylan Ferrandis is plus 2,000 to win the race. Again, that's it's obviously far fetched, but he went 3-3 last year. You never know. So cool that these guys at Bet Online AG have these bets going. The one I do like, or I think is interesting, but it's hard to bet against, is you can actually pick the odds to win the championship. You have Jet Lawrence versus the field. So you can pick Jet to win or anybody else to win. So if you pick Jet to win, it's minus 400. Obviously, he's the points lead. He's third in points, but he's revving up. He's gonna win a lot of motos. But if something happens to him and anyone else wins the championship, you make that bet, it's plus 250. So it's pretty cool that you can bet basically Jet against the field. So however you're feeling about Jet and everybody else, that's a pretty cool bet. So lots of options on here from Bet Online AG. So if you guys are interested, go on there and make some bets. But again, bet responsibly. Don't bet any money that you don't have, like myself over here. So anything else, Jeff, for Southwick? I think it's going to be a good weekend. Track's always fun to watch. It'll be rough, sandy. And yeah, I'm,
It'd be fun to film. I just hope the rain stays away so it doesn't trash our camera equipment. But
yeah,
I hope it's I'd like it to be overcast, low humidity, and lots of sand flying everywhere.
yeah, definitely. I think we'll have a good race. High Point was awesome. Both classes, both motos really good. So I'm stoked for Southwick. It'll be cool to see him at a different venue. So
No, it's been a great race all year. And hey, let's say something real quick. If you're gonna be at the Wick this weekend and you're down at the podium celebration, you got a chainsaw horn, let the guys say what they gotta say and then light it up. During the race, do whatever. But while they're trying to give their podium speech, give them a little bit of respect, you know? I mean, it's
yeah,
cool to
yeah,
get loose, but don't be a douchebag.
yeah. It's hard to hear. Those guys can't even hear half the questions that are being answered or asked of them
You
on the
couldn't hear
podium.
shit out there.
That's cool though, but also let them listen so you can cheer for their answer. So
Yeah, exactly. Let them. I mean, think of how hard think how hard Masterpool worked for that,
Oh shit,
and
yeah.
you couldn't hear nothing.
No.
So just kind
Yeah.
of think about that a little bit. But of course, if I was Frank the Tank drunk, yeah, good
Just
luck, dude.
just chainsaw, air horn, just what,
No,
whatever.
I'd be the one streaking across the stage with people trying to kill me. But that's why old Hefe doesn't drink that much anymore.
It's better for you anyway, right? So before
I
we
get
wrap,
wild. I don't get mean. I get wild.
so we've heard from your trip to overseas last year.
Yeah, I'm locally world famous in Farley Castle. No clothes were taken off though. I kept my clothes on.
Thank God. Thank God, right?
Yes, thank God. Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsors one more time: Rock and Turf, Max's Tires, Speed Strap, Factory Connection, UR Water, and Baja Designs. That's our site lap from Southwick. We'll see you for a riders meeting on Sunday.